This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. Age of Aquarius.
So is this based on your life, Marcia?
No, it isn't. It's not autobiographical. I was kind of like Lita. I was kind of shy, quiet, observed a lot. There was a bad boy in our town, though. I think every town has one.
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to depict the worst things that can happen to a kid. But this book has several layers. Number one layer for me is rock and roll stars that are no longer with us. Jim Morrison, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, and even Judy Garland. Like, the issues that affected them affect the people in my book.
I was fortunate. I was a nursing student, so I couldn't get caught taking any of that stuff. I didn't, luckily, thank God, get involved in any of the other stuff. But it messed up a lot of my friends. I mean, I've gotten very messed up.
We lost a good portion of our
I lost a lot of friends in Vietnam. That was what bothered me.
We
more
were
than
just on the
anything
cusp
Vietnam.
of that.
Yeah.
And the second layer is the Greek myth, which some people don't get the symbolism, but everybody in this book has a corollary in the Greek myths. And I think you can figure it out if you know the myth of Leda and the swan, Orpheus and Eurydice, and some of the others, Zeus and Hera, Danae, Io, let's think, some of the others, Narcissus and Echo. Every one of these has a corollary in this book. So there's three major layers.
I was interested in the cover picture
Oh.
because Hippieville and the Back Bay don't quite go
Oh, that's
together.
Beacon Hill.
No.
That's
Is that-
Beacon Hill.
You
Yeah.
can tell by the lamp.
This is
Yeah.
Louisburg Square.
Is it?
The painting's by Linda Levine. I met her in Faneuil Hall, and she was just displaying her prints, and I said, so many of these would be perfect for my book, and she said, go ahead and use it. So,
Wow.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Because when I look at this, I think like, oh, old Boston, stodgy, you know.
Yeah.
Purple windows. Yeah, because I think that the Wild Gang lived more up Palm Ave in
That's
the
true.
brownstones.
Oh, yeah, like Kenmore Square,
Yeah.
So we were living like in Brighton,
Yeah. Yeah.
Alston.
Yeah.
that area. I mean,
Yeah.
the school that I went to, I lived in a boarding house on Newbury Street, so,
Mhm.
but, I mean, the thing was, it was a bunch of different people, because they all went to smaller schools. So the following year, we wanted to get an apartment. Well, my parents wouldn't hear of it, so I got myself kicked out. Well,
Now, what
how
school
else
did
was
you
I
go
gonna
to?
do it?
What school did
School
you-
of Fashion Design on Newbury Street.
Oh, okay.
So I got caught throwing things out of the top window.
And I think you're going to ask me how long it took me to write
I
it.
was, yes.
30 years.
Wow.
I started it in 1971. I started it in 1971, and I came out with a pretty much finished version in the year 2001, and then I just put it together into this last year. So this is the final edition, but nothing's really been changed. This is it.
You had two books out. You had Incubus.
Yes, this
One
is
and two.
Incubus. Yeah, this is Incubus 1 and 2 put together.
All right, so why didn't you keep them,
Separate?
yeah, like, and where did you get
Yeah.
Incubus from?
Well, Incubus was, it's a symbol of, let's see, what is the definition of incubus? A spirit that descends on a sleeping woman, you know, kind of like Zeus and the swan, Leda and the swan. The reason I brought it together was I never wanted it to be two separate books. I always wanted it to be all in one. But because of the limitations of technology, my publisher couldn't do it as one book until now. So you liked it. I heard you liked it.
I did like it. Well, you know, it brought back some memories of the times, which I thought was good. And I was really interested in the characters, wanting things to work out, you know, what was going to happen to them. So,
That's good.
yeah, I had some times there where I should have put it down, but I didn't. Kept on reading. Yeah, supper was late a few nights. But it was very good. It was interesting, and it was a good read. I mean, it went well, you know, it just flowed very nicely.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
But I heard you liked
I
it,
loved
Kim.
it.
What did you love about it?
Well, the thing was, I lived in Boston from '72 on for about 4 years.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of the places that you mentioned in there were my haunts. But I also liked a lot of the references, a lot of the music in it, I kept trying to picture who was Ben. If it was like supposed to be a screenplay, who would you have chosen for Ben?
Oh, I don't know.
Because it's like this deep, this dark, Greek and Italian, long hair, sexy like, and so who would I pick,
Yeah.
and because you try to put people with the characters, but it just, I couldn't put it down, and the thing was, if I didn't have to give it up, I was not gonna finish it because I was trying to prolong it.
Oh, that's nice.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
No, not
He's too
this-
blonde.
Too blonde, this
Yeah.
guy was like.
Just a dark guy.
Ben Affleck, maybe.
No, I could not think of who it would have been.
Yeah.
I knew a guy in high school that this would have been.
Yeah, we all knew those guys.
But, no,
Yeah.
I can't.
Like Joe Perry or somebody like that.
School with Joe Perry.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, he was in my
See?
class. Still, he went to private school.
So was he a rock god?
He wasn't a rock god, no, I wouldn't say. He did playing bands, and about our sophomore year, I think, his mother was our gym teacher. And I think about sophomore year, she put him in private school because he wasn't doing real well. But all he really wanted to do was play the guitar. He really did. That's all he wanted to do. He wanted to play the guitar. He was, he had it in his blood. That's all he wanted to do. He wasn't interested in school.
We used to go over here, they played up at the
Yeah,
town hall.
Town hall, yeah.
50 cents, I think we.
When we were in the 6th grade, we used to walk, he and I used to walk to Billy Draper's together from Dutchess Street School. We'd walk down to Billy Draper's for candy in the afternoon.
All right.
Yeah.
But Lucifer's was one that stuck out.
Oh, yeah,
I did go
Lucifer's,
there.
yeah. The Tea
Oh,
Party.
Lucifer's.
And I don't remember that one, I remember it was called Yesterdays.
Oh, yeah, Yesterday's.
There were three nightclubs.
Katie's, yeah.
Katie, Lucifer's, and then there was
And
one more.
Lucifer's.
There was one more, they were side by side
Yeah,
on that
yeah,
side
there was-
street.
Yeah, there was three of, I can never
I can't
remember the
remember
first
either.
one.
Oh, I remember.
So Viola, you said you liked it. It reminded you of Orpheus, the band. But you met the guy that was in Orpheus, the bass player?
Yes, his name was Eric Gullickson,
Mm-hmm.
and they had a hit record.
Had
Right.
several. My husband's favorite group was
Yeah.
Orpheus.
It was fine.
Orpheus.
They had
Can't
Orpheus
Find the Time to
Ascending,
Tell
they
You.
had Can't Find the Time to Tell You, they had Congress Alley. They had a lot of them, yeah. In fact, they were playing around here not too long ago. We went to see them in, what's the place in Somerville? It's in Somerville anyway, it's a nightclub. We went to see Orpheus. They had one outside concert they did in, I think it was Concord. We went to see them there, and then we went to see them at this place in Somerville. They just got together for a short time, but
Yeah.
they were so good. They were as good as they were. They were as good as when they were authorized.
Did you live in Boston, Marcia?
No, I didn't. I lived in New Hampshire, and I came down and visited.
Yeah.
So I did all my research in the library, and I interviewed people, and I read the microfiche of the newspapers of the time. So I actually didn't live through this directly, except I was alive during the times, but I was raising 2 children, so I wasn't really in the middle of it.
Yeah, no, I did this.
Yeah.
We're the basis for the book. We had the MD.
I think it was a terrible time, as far as I'm concerned, because there was so much freedom for young people at the time. And then my daughter's maid of honor had a baby out of wedlock, and that was terrible at the time.
Yeah.
And they went to the big Love-In in Watkins, New York.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Watkins Glen?
Woodstock, was it Woodstock you're talking, Woodstock?
what's that?
Are you talking Woodstock?
Woodstock.
Yeah.
Oh, that, yeah.
And so I was 25 years married about that time. It was a terrible time to bring up a daughter who was really
Yeah.
sheltered, and then find her out with the wolves and the... And she married a man who was the oldest of 8 children. He was editor of the school newspaper, and he kept the school together to not have an uprising like they had at Kent State.
And we had an uprising at UNH too. We went on strike when they bombed Cambodia. Maybe it was 1970.
We
Yeah.
marched in the moratoriums in '69.
Yeah.
We did up in Worcester. We ended up, because I went to school in Worcester, but we were marching in Worcester, the anti-war protest. When they went to California here, did they go out to San Francisco in the book? I haven't read the book, so.
No, but one of the girls in the book, Danielle, she goes to California, but I didn't go into what happened when she got to California. But she's based on a real person I knew.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah.
I'm from California, and I went to a college down the peninsula from San Francisco, and I remember Haight-Ashbury,
Oh,
and I was married at the time, actually,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't even know any of this existed on the East Coast. I thought it was all there in the peninsula.
Yeah.
You know, and all of that. I didn't know about you guys. I don't know. You know?
Oh, we were here.
We were trying to keep up our end of things.
The guy from Harvard that went there.
Oh, Larry.
The LSD guy.
Timothy Leary.
Yeah, of course, we had Timothy
Yeah.
Leary.
You got lucky, you got it.
Yeah, yeah.
That was a pivotal time in U.S. history
Yeah.
because up until that point, it was very conservative. The whole culture was very conservative. And then in the 60s, there was the drugs, the pot, the LSD. Then there was the birth control pill was in the 60s. So that took a lot of the worry out. And, you know, the free love movement or whatever. So, and even the clothing was a drastic change from conservative to free-for-all.
Yeah, just the long hair was very
Everything.
controversial.
Everything
Yeah.
was
Beatles did
upside
that.
down. That was
The Beatles brought a
really,
lot of that over.
yeah, that was very disruptive. And the war, the Vietnam, I remember when I got out of high school, it was 1962, and the draft was in place for Vietnam.
Right.
And there were couples getting married to avoid the draft,
Yeah.
and people going on to school, to college, to avoid the draft that wouldn't have ordinarily.
Yeah. Because you could get a 2S college deferment
Yeah.
if you were enrolled full-time, or you could get a 3E if you were married with children.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Ben was in the position where he'd flunked out of college, and, you know, he was ready to be drafted. So that's in part two.
Yeah, yeah. Very disruptive on every level. So a lot of turmoil. And to your point that you were worried, you say it was the worst time. Your daughter would have probably said it was the best time.
I felt that way.
Yeah,
Said it was the
because
best?
you were
Me too. Yeah,
worried
yeah, it
about
was
her,
awesome.
and she
Always
was
wanted
worried
to go back
about
to my
nothing.
20s.
You know, she was
It was a great time.
discovering things that were all new.
Yeah, but.
Yeah.
But we were free to do that at that point. It
Yeah.
freed us to be able to do what even our older siblings couldn't do or
Right.
were afraid to do because of the way things were.
just-
We were set free to and
Yeah.
even when she said, you know, out of wedlock children, yeah, that was a horrible, I mean, especially in Hopedale, oh my God. But
In
then
all
this was
little
good
towns,
because
yeah.
it made it so that these people didn't live under this horrible stigma anymore, you know, I mean,
But a lot of them suffered for it,
Yeah.
health-wise.
oh yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
it put them on a
The
different
drugs
path
did a
of
number
life.
on people that.
To
that-
put them on a
it-
different path.
Drugs were terrible,
yeah.
that was the bad part about
But
it.
if
the
you
drugs.
didn't get caught up in all that stuff,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I came from a very, very strict family. I was the oldest of an Italian family, and I just wanted out. So I went into Boston, I lived there, went to school there, and just really, I mean, I didn't get caught up,
Yeah.
you know, with the drugs, and I didn't get caught up with any of that stuff, and it was a fun time.
Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things will get brighter. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things will get brighter.